version compatibility. So what are all the required softwares and their and the respective versions in your system in order to start with Selenium WebDriver. So basically Selenium WebDriver starts with Selenium WebDriver 2.0. You are going to see this 2.0 in Selenium WebDriver list. But this is a very basic version of Selenium WebDriver where it supports Firefox 17 to, we can say, Firefox 26, like that. Firefox 26, like that. So, and then slowly Selenium WebDriver versions has been increased from 2.0 to 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, like that. Now the Selenium, so for Selenium WebDriver 2.0 only, Firefox is 7. Is this good now? Okay, fine. So regarding Selenium WebDriver 2.0, the Firefox supportive version is, the version compatibility is Firefox 17 to Firefox 26. So, and coming to Chrome browser, Chrome also less than 26 version it supports. And coming to IE, it supports less than 8. We can say 8, IE 8 version. IE 8 version. So slowly this Selenium WebDriver version has been increased to Selenium 3.0. Now we have the latest version Selenium 4.0, 3.9.1 and 4.0. So for this Selenium WebDriver 3.0, the version compatibility is Firefox up to 55 version. It will support, and Chrome also same up to 55. It supports IE 11 also. IE 9, 10, 11, all these things it will support. So now Selenium 3.9. The same thing. Firefox latest version. Chrome latest version. And IE Edge version. IE Edge version. This is very important version nowadays. Windows 10 operating system is having this IE Edge. So where application compatibility issues you may get when you are testing the application in IE Edge browser. IE Edge browser. So this is nothing but the concept of version compatibility. So any questions?
What is this Edge browser? It's a special kind of browser?
No, it's a latest version of IE.
Okay.
There is no special things in IE.
The version number is not there, just Edge.
No, just it is IE Edge, that's it. We don't have any version numbers for that.
Hello?
We don't have any version
Okay.
numbers for that. Only IE Edge is
Okay.
the version name.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So any other questions in this version compatibility or any other configuration related questions? So if you have any questions, just ping me in this chat box so that we will discuss about those things. Meanwhile, I am going to start how to start the script designing part when you are working in automation testing or automation development in real time. So first step, automation development process. Generally, this automation development will start only when the application is in stable position. Application is in stable position. Application is in stable position means, in the sense, there should not be any dynamic changes in the requirements once the functionality is freezed. Yep, sure. So automation development process. So automation development process is nothing but where we can perform this automation development process only when the application is in stable position. So stable position means there should not be any dynamic changes in the requirements once the functionality is freezed. So this is what stable position we are talking about. So simply we can say, when we need to perform automation testing means, once the application is in stable position, and one more thing, to reduce the regression activities, to reduce the repeated work what we are doing in our real-time environment. For that purpose, we are performing automation development process. First thing, test first first step here is, the process is called test initiation, where we are going to talk about what types of testing we are following in the process. So what type of testing, in the sense, we are following functional and regression testing activities. Regression testing activities. Second step is nothing but tool selection. So here remember that in the first step itself, everything will be covered. Initiation will start following with test planning, test strategy. Like that, it is going to have all the things in this first step. Second step will be followed with test tool selection. What is the tool that we need to use in order to automate this project? So that is what we are going to discuss about in second step, tool selection. Here the tool we selected is Selenium WebDriver with framework. So this is what we selected. And third thing is installation and configuration. Installation and configuration. Fourth step, test case design. Fifth step, so better we can say this as a test script design. You can say this as a test script execution. Sixth step, test results report. Test results report. These are the things that we need to follow in an automation development process. First thing is, automation development will be started only when the application is in stable position, Stable position is nothing but there should not be any changes in the dynamic changes in the requirements when the functionality is freezed. And then first step started with test initiation, followed and then it follows with test planning and strategy. Test planning is nothing but what types of testing that you are going to follow. Test strategy is nothing but resource allocation, so and so resource worked on so and so particular functionality for how many hours, like that. And then tool selection. For our training purpose, we selected Selenium WebDriver with framework, and then installation and configuration, test script designing part, execution part, and then results generation part. These are all the steps that we are get to know. How do we get to know? Okay, so test results report, how do we get to know? So this is all about depends upon the roles and responsibilities. What is that? Efforts, how many hours of effort estimation. Okay, we will discuss. So that is the separate part, and separate process where we are not going to include that complete concept in this. But in general, to calculate the estimate hours of testing, generally the project total project development hours or total project hours into 40% is nothing but testing hours. 40% of the total project hours is nothing but testing hours. So simply the efforts estimation depends upon this formula only, but again it depends upon the client requirement. If client wants to automate this complete project, means we are going to calculate it for 40%. If client mention only few functionalities, if client wants to automate only few functionalities, then we can't give 40% of uh, no, it's not development time. I am saying that complete project time, complete project time. Suppose your project is for 1,000 hours, so we need to calculate based on the hours, right? So efforts estimation is depending upon application and client requirement. Exactly. Yes. Yes, whatever the point or whatever the comment that you have mentioned here. So one point that someone mentioned, I think Ramkoti mentioned, to both manual and automation testing, we can say for both 40% is not enough to perform manual testing and automation testing activities out of the total project time. So it is both separate, different activities. Suppose your project is for 1,000 hours. Your project is for 1,000 hours. So out of 1,000 hours, 400 hours are testing purpose. 400 hours are for testing purpose. It may be unit testing or it may be black box testing done by the testing team. But coming to the automation testing, automation development will be a different task where automation developers has to perform once the total project time has been completed. Means project time is 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours completed, but this automation testing activity is the separate task where you need to follow the 40% of the project time. Means again 400 hours will be added to your task. Efforts estimation depending upon the application and client requirement. This is one terms and condition in the point what we have discussed just now. So terms and condition means, again we are saying that 40%, 40%. This 40% again depends upon the client requirement and the application what we need to automate. Suppose if customer requirement is like you need to automate the complete application from top to bottom, then it will take 40% of hours. Or else, if customer has given only few requirements that you need to automate, then it will not require that many hours. That is the reason efforts estimation general, it's a universal standard formula, but there is no restriction to formula this in the same format. 40% of the complete project time is nothing but testing hours. Any questions still? Still, do you have any questions? Still, where you are not clear? I'm going to unmute your mic. Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. The doubt here is, see, say for example, 1,000 hours
Okay.
project is estimated as 1,000 hours.
Okay.
40% of the time for testing activity, you said.
Yes. Yes.
But which comprises both manual and automation, right?
No.
These 400 hours
No.
are are only for manual.
Only for manual testing.
Okay, you mean to say only for 400 hours is allocated for manual testing.
That is the reason.
Once
One
it
second.
is over.
One second. One second. Whatever the point that I am saying,
Okay.
you need to identify or you
Okay.
need to recognize. I am saying total project development time.
Okay.
Don't think about only testing
Oh.
hours. What I mean to say, I'm talking, I'm saying the word project development time. Means if the project is under
Okay.
development, then we are going to talk about only manual testing activities.
Okay.
Means if the total
Okay.
project time is 1000 hours, development time is 1000 hours, out of 1000, 400 hours are testing hours as per the universal standard. But it's up to the customer. If customer wants to
Okay.
increase the number of hours for testing, we can increase. If customer wants to decrease the number of hours, they can decrease. It's all about the customer requirement again. But this 40% is the universal standard. There is no restriction to use this 40% of hours in our activity.
Okay.
Okay. This next point is
Okay.
how to calculate the efforts estimation for automation testing then. So you asked me this question. The answer for this question is,
Yes. Yes.
it's all about, again, it is 40% of the time what we have been used. Means 400 hours we took for manual testing. If we don't have any
Hmm.
service level agreement between customer and the automation test engineer or the company, then we can consider again 400 hours for automation testing. Again, it depends upon the functionality what we need to automate.
Okay.
Understand? Here automation testing
Okay.
covers only
Yeah.
functional testing part and regression testing part. We are not going to talk about the UI testing part. So that is the reason automation testing hours may be or may not be less than the manual testing hours.
Okay. So,
Understand?
what about the performance testing? Yeah. What about the performance testing and other stuffs? For example,
Other
that will
stuff
be
Other
another
stuff will
separate part.
not be included in this estimations. Every testing activity will
Automation.
have their own
Uh-huh.
estimates.
Okay. Okay.
So that is what here, what automation development or performance testing or security testing or web services testing or something whatever the testing activity that we have, that particular testing activity
Okay.
requires some automated software where you are creating something in order to perform testing activities, right? So for
Yeah.
that purpose, each and every automation tool or each and every activity have their own importance. That is the reason whatever the functionality that we need to automate or that we need to perform load test or security, whatever it might be, we need to have proper estimates for that. So there is no generic rule that we need to follow like this only. Just general formula is 40% of total project development time.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes, see,
Thank you. Thank you so
in
much.
my real time experience, I'm going to say, like, sometimes I have a project which is having four search screens and three data entry screens, and sorry, four search screens and 10 data entry screens, and two review screens and all those things. But when I am trying to automate, I need to automate every screen. Means four search screens I need to automate, 10 data entry screens I need to automate, to review screens I need to automate, everything I need to automate. Why? Because every screen is related to functional part and regression testing part. But coming to performance testing, no need to have all the four screens, no need to have all 10 data entry screens, no need to have two review screens, all those things, nothing required. Just two search screens and four data entry screens is are fine for us in order to perform performance testing. What is mean by performance testing means just we are putting burden on the server, we are putting load on the server, whether that server can handle the expected load or not. But when we are talking about this Selenium tool or some other tools, we are talking about the functionality, right? So that is what, when you are providing the estimates to the end customer, make sure that the functionality or the scenarios what you need to be automated, that should be very clear. Without that clear picture, we can't perform this estimation part. But as part of our knowledge, the general standard universal formula is 40% of the total project development time is nothing but testing time. I hope you understood my point, what I said. And so this is what the 6 steps that we need to follow when we started with automation testing process. Automation testing process. And now, as I mentioned in the first point, only when the application is in stable position. So I am saying that application is in stable position always. I am trying to say application should be in stable position, but application is in stable position means then what we can do with that application. So if we started with automating the project, first make sure that your application is having manual test cases. Your application is having manual test cases. If manual test cases are not there, if manual test cases are not there, then try to consolidate the list of scenarios what you need to automate. Okay, list out all the scenarios what you need to automate. Once you list out all the scenarios that you want to automate, make sure that you are going to provide the steps for each and every scenario. Means you don't have manual test cases, right? So this is the additional task for you in order to automate the script very easily. Remember that some question, what is that? Based on what and which criteria here? So based on what and which criteria means, what is that? Hello?
When there are no manual test cases, as you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So in that,
When there are no manual test cases.
okay.
Uh-huh. then how do we proceed actually?
Yes, next
For
step is that
automation
only.
directly we proceed for. Okay.
Yes, we are going to discuss about that step only. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So here, few companies are following standards in the market where they are following manual test cases perfectly. So in that case, you will not have any burden in order to prepare the manual test cases again and again in a stepwise format. If we don't have manual test cases, then what is the step that we need to take care here? So let's say, for example, I'm going to take one application for our reference. Already we took this application for our single script designing part, and I'm going to use the same application again. Yeah, last time we clicked on this one, clicked on this one, click on this one, so on. So we have done. But today I want to create an user once I logged into the application. After login only, I need to create the user, or I need to register the user. So an application is there in front of you, and your lead asked you to automate the project. Then what is, I mean, when there are no, okay. So your lead asks you to start the automation testing process. Then what you are going to follow here is, first you need to be ready with the automation testing tool, installation part, and the configuration part. Once everything has been done, then we can start script designing. So how to design the script, how to execute the script, how to generate the report. How to design the script is the first question here. How to design the automation script. How to design the automation script. First question is, the automation script will be designed based on the following factors. You need to be ready with these factors, then only you can perform the automation script designing very easily. First thing, prerequisites. Prerequisites. So what are those prerequisites? Browser, URL, username and password, new user details to be entered. So these four are the basic things in order to start the script designing part. So first thing is, we need to have browser, second one is URL, third one is username password, and fourth one is new user details to be entered in order to log into the application. In order to log into the application. Fine. Now all these prerequisites depends upon Selenium WebDriver methods. Selenium WebDriver methods concept. So how to open the browser? We know all these things, right? So as we discussed in the previous topic, I said, like, the manual test cases, if the manual test cases are not there or not following in that particular project, then you need to have some time in order to design the manual test cases, or else no need to prepare about those test cases. Just you can describe the functionality in a stepwise format. So let us discuss about these factors which impact on our script designing part, where we are going to use these rules. First thing is prerequisite. Second thing is, if you want to use the WebDriver methods, then make sure that we need to be perfect in Selenium WebDriver methods. So as we discussed, we have so many methods, right? So So let us have discussion on this particular thing. Remember that in your real time, you are going to face this browser launching and URL passing the URL and browser launching, or you are going to see that particular things regularly, but we don't know how to fix that particular issue when it throws an error. First point, Selenium WebDriver or automation script designing part based on the factors. First thing is browser, URL, username, password, and new user details to be entered. Second thing is based on the prerequisites, we need to define the methods. My scenario here is I want to I want to create a record from the home page. Let's see how it is going to be, how the flow will be. Home page, open the browser, pass the URL, enter username, enter password. Fifth one is click on login button, click on, anyhow we are creating user, right? Create user button. Seventh one, required details required details, click on next button. Ninth, review the data, and 10th one is click on submit. These are the steps that we are having in order to automate the functionality. First thing, open the browser. What is the WebDriver method that we need to use in order to open the browser? So first, write down that particular proper thing, what we need to be tested and what we need to be developed and what is the task that we have. So just first step is open the browser. So how to open the browser and how to pass the URL. To open the browser, I think in the earlier session we said like browser itself is nothing but one object. So you are confusing. Site means, so whatever the URL that I have accessed, or do you want me to explain what is mean by site, website? URL. Okay, let me ping you. This is just dummy URL and most commonly used URL, but just for your reference, I have shared. Nothing more than that. We don't have any specific thing in this URL. Okay. First thing is open the browser and pass the URL. So what are the WebDriver methods for these two things? System.set property that we can use it to open the browser means what is the browser that you want to open, your system is asking you. So that is the reason open the browser is nothing but to open the required documents or to open the browser by using some statement. Let's see about that statement also in Eclipse and pass the URL. How to pass the URL? Driver.get is the method. Driver.get is the method. If we are going to use driver.get method, then automatically URL will be invoked into the browser. URL will be invoked into the browser. Third thing, enter the username. So how to enter the username? It is asking you to enter the username only. It's a singular. That is the reason I am going to use the name, method name, or I am going to use that particular username and password to log into the application. To log into the application means we need to have username and password. Next thing, click on login button. In the sense, login button. Once you click on login button, it will ask you to click on create user button. Once you click on create user, then you need to enter the details and click on submit button. So does anyone explains about this WebDriver methods?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Open the browser.
Okay.
Driver dot open, right?
No. Okay, so let it be. I'll explain you. So remember that when you are going to start the automation script designing part, make sure that you need to prepare one Excel document. Preparing the Excel document is a very good thing in order to start with the automation testing part. This particular sheet is having different. Yes, this particular Excel document will have the list of all these WebDriver methods and the respective comments. Yes, set property, system.set property. It's not URL, it's a file path. It's not URL, it's file path. File path is nothing but system.set property, where you have been downloaded and saved this particular driver or folder. We need to configure that particular folder in order to automate this particular functionality. What is that? Driver stored path. Yes, it's a driver stored path. Okay, next, passing the URL. How to pass the URL? Passing the URL is nothing but driver dot. Next thing, enter the username. Here I am talking about enter the username. Singular meaning I am talking about. So if it is a singular, then the keyword is find element. The syntax would be driver dot find element by dot id. So if there is an id name for that particular username field, make sure that you are passing data to that particular field id name with some value. So for password also same thing, but for login it will change. So what is this login? Send keys. Yep, click, because we are clicking on login button. Like this, we need to consolidate the list of all WebDriver methods which are applicable to the objects that we need to use in our scripting part. So any questions, guys? Create user button I am saying. So that is the reason we can use the same statement. Create user button. So driver dot, we are finding out only one element. That is the reason I am using find element by dot any other locator name we can use. Mention the xpath here dot what we are doing here, we are clicking on the button. So click. Are you getting my point, guys? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, it is clear now.
Yep. So
Thank you.
there is no complication here where you are going to face that many complications in script designing part. Just don't feel like that this is somewhat complicated and tricky part where you need to follow in our script designing part. So it's a simple thing. just categorize or the list of items what you have, and then beside that list of item, make sure that you are going to provide the WebDriver method name. Once you provided that particular WebDriver method name, consolidate all the list of statements into a single class file and execute that particular thing. So any questions, guys? One more thing, make sure that you need to have configuration in your system, uh, if possible by tomorrow, so that you'll understand what we are writing on the script designing part.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll explain the script. The same thing you can use that duplicate copy over there. You can create the same script in your system so that it will be easy for you to understand. How do we know all WebDriver functions?
Yes.
Already we discussed about this concept, which is having 16 WebDriver methods. There are 16 to 18 WebDriver predefined methods where we can use that predefined methods only for the automation point of view. Does anyone have still questions on that? Yes, there are 16 to 18 predefined methods altogether. If we are perfect where to use all the 16 or 18 methods, then almost 60% of the scripting we can complete. So any other questions? Any questions?